So I'm going to say a few words now, and we have a couple other people who are going to speak. If you're in line to get food, keep getting food. If you're in line for drink, definitely continue to get drink, um, and just find a seat or hang out and be comfortable. This won't be too long, I don't think. Um, I'm going to speak a little bit, and then one of Laura's doctors, Dr. Gerard, who is her main doctor for treating her cystic fibrosis, will speak as well. He was a doctor who Laura really, really admired and appreciated the support from. And over the past few months, I became very, very close to him as well as the rest of the family. So it's great that he's here to speak today. After that, Carol Bradstreet from the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation will speak. She's a woman that Laura worked with through all the CF fundraising. She's the head of the chapter that Laura worked with. And then lastly, we'll hear from Jeanette, who is Laura's best friend forever since kindergarten. After the speeches, we'll play a couple online videos of people from Ireland who have sent videos over to be played, and then it's gonna be an open mic. Anyone who wants to come up and have any speeches or speak just memories or thoughts about Laura, you can do those at that time as well. After that, it's just sort of free form, and you know, sometime between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, if you want, you can mosey on down to the Lasting Room, which is a bar about a mile from here, where we'll sort of have a couple more drinks. That's where the kick-ass party is. Yeah, that was Laura's request. It's a kick-ass party, and she specifically would say, and I want people to be drunk. So some of us will oblige that. So I actually performed a eulogy for my grandmother this past November. When I got up to go perform the speech, Laura tried to hand me a tissue. I said, "Oh, I'm okay. I don't need it." I, of course, made a big slobbering mess of myself, and I was wiping things all over my pants, and I get back to my seat, and Laura just handed me a tissue and said, "Take it." So I got my tissues. I've really struggled with this speech. Words can't at all capture my feelings and love of Laura. I will do the best I can, but no matter what, this is going to fall short of conveying the true feelings I have. Because of this, you're stuck with some kind of randomish thoughts and feelings I have instead of a good flowing speech. 16 years together sounds like a lot, at least to people my age, but clearly is not long enough. Laura was such an important person in so many people's lives. It really got me thinking, how could one person be so important to so many people? I think it really came down to her attitude on life. She truly lived each day to the fullest. Our first official date, after I'd received a monkey and a sock in the mail, we went to a movie at the Lawrence Theater and went to have a couple of drinks at the 99 in North Andover. During those couple of drinks, and it really was a couple of drinks, Laura told me of her CF, and she told me in a very straightforward way that she would not lead a long life, and asked if I still wanted to see her again. I, of course, was just happy to have her even talking to me. At that point, I was already hooked. We both knew early on that our relationship would be something that we would commit to for life. Me being a guy, however, I did not move forward with the next step fast enough for Laura. So she started to tell me of the kind of diamond she wanted for an engagement ring. When that did not get the result she wanted, she finally told me that if I didn't propose, she would propose to me. And she would say to me, "Do you want to be that guy who got proposed to by his wife?" I, of course, knew this was something I wanted to do, but this push got me to finally propose to her. I proposed to her in Ireland, and that trip was the best trip we ever had. We have so many fond memories from that trip. This shows, though, that even at an early age of 24, she had already had this feeling about her life. This feeling is what pushed her to live every day to the fullest. I'm sure there are many people. We both knew early on that our relationship would be something that we would commit to for life. Me being a guy, however, I did not move forward with the next step fast enough for Laura. So she started to tell me of the kind of diamond she wanted for an engagement ring. When that did not get the result she wanted, she finally told me that if I didn't propose, she would propose to me. She would say to me, "Do you want to be that guy who got proposed to by his wife?" I, of course, knew this was something I wanted to do, but this push got me to finally propose to her. I proposed to her in Ireland, and that trip was the best trip we ever had. We have so many fond memories from that trip. This shows, though, that even at an early age of 24, she had already had this feeling about her life. This feeling is what pushed her to live every day to the fullest. I'm sure there are many people who think they live life to the fullest, but if you know Laura at all, you would know how it's really done. She lived for relationships. There is not anyone on earth she would not just strike up a conversation with and connect with. She could make anyone comfortable and have a good discussion with anyone, no matter what walk of life they were from. This attitude also seemed to allow her to see things clearer. By things, I mean just about anything. She could look at something simple like a puzzle or how to organize something and come up with the simplest, most clear solution. She could also see complicated things like human relationships and again, see how things should work. She was able to always tell people how things were and what she thought, but she could do it without offending people. She was the person who everyone went to for advice. Paint colors, purchases, how to deal with interpersonal relationships. People older than her often came to her for advice as well. This again is because she could see things so clearly. She didn't have time for baggage, whether that was physical stuff or wasted emotional cycles on relationships. Over the past few years, she would often talk about how lucky she felt. She had such amazing friends and family and healthy girls. She had been pretty healthy given her cystic fibrosis situation, and she felt she had no regrets. This would come up frequently with her. It would always be part of a happy, positive conversation. As I believe most of you know, Laura went on a trip to Ireland with a number of friends to celebrate her 40th birthday this March. Little did we know what a huge deal that trip would be. It allowed her to connect her extended U.S. family of friends with her family in Ireland. This is what Laura did in life. She connected people whom would never cross paths. I want to show a short video here taken on her birthday in Ireland. This just says it all.
Hold on.
Technical issues. Need audio.
Hold on 1 second.
Sorry, everyone. Thank you, sir. We'll get it working, and then we'll come back to it later. Okay? It is priceless. So we'll deal with that after, all right, guys?
I'm gonna try it one time.
Huh?
Why isn't it working? Alright, give it a shot. Sorry, keep going.
I'm the luckiest man on earth to have been able to spend so many quality years with her, loving me unconditionally. The picture that's up here shows that love so clearly. I'd never seen this picture before. Jeanette found it when going through the pictures after she passed. This picture shows what I have in my mind and in my heart of how much we loved each other, and that will never be taken from me. I will never lose the feeling of love from her for all those years. This love has been personified in our two girls. We will continue to celebrate that love and use it to raise these girls the best we can. You notice I'm saying we. This includes everyone in this room. I'm going to need so much help to raise these girls to Laura's standards. She was the perfect mom and wife for us, and we will use that to build on to get us to continue going forward. While going through this process, we have received so many pictures and have seen so many on Facebook. It really helps with the healing. Many of the pictures are from before I knew Laura. I don't think she ever looks bad in a picture. You could always see that spark in her eye and the incredible warm smile. Laura was the quarterback of my family. We have to move on without her. There is no backup for Tom Brady, so we will have to go to a wildcat formation and all play different roles than expected. But we will still be effective at raising these girls. We can do this because of the blueprint that Laura has left us. Over the past few months, I've had a huge support system to get through this time. This will have to continue. I will have to continue to lean heavily on all of you. We would be completely lost without all of you, but the fact that you are here is just part of Laura's legacy, that she has built this support system for us. Jeanette dug up a song recently, which I guess played frequently on General Hospital in the 80s and 90s. I didn't watch, I have no idea. This song was written by Christopher Cross about a friend of a friend named Laura. I swear he was talking about my Laura. I'm going to read just a little bit of the lyrics from the song, but the full song is playing in the playlist. Every once in a while, I'd see her smile, and she'd turn my day around. A girl with those eyes could stare through the lies and see what your heart was saying. Think of Laura, but laugh, don't cry. I know she'd want it that way. When you think of Laura, laugh, don't cry. I know she'd want it that way. Laura has always told me she did not want a funeral, etc. She wanted a kick-ass party. It's time to get that going. As I mentioned, we'll be here till 2:30 or 3 o'clock, and then we'll go down to the lasting room. This is a bar downtown which has recently become frequently visited for lunch and has become the Laura CF fundraising headquarters. It's been where Laura's hosted the first annual 45s tournament this past November, which was a huge success, as well as the location for the Great Strides Walk this spring. The owner of the bar is named Dick Willett. He has a very personal story about loss due to CF and his family. Dick seems like a gruff guy when you meet him, but Laura saw right through it, and they were able to connect and start to work together on these amazing events to raise money for CF, which has been such a huge part of Laura's life for the past 15 years. I know many of you are thinking about, what are you going to do with your stuff now? Have no fear, there will be a yard sale next year. This must keep going. We are now just the guardians of what Laura has started. All events will continue. The yard sale, the walk, the 45s tournament, and the newly added soccer tournament. That's right, a soccer tournament. Laura had started working on this past fall. Sherry Russo and Alex followed it through, and the first annual CF soccer tournament at the Fan Zone in Hampstead was held yesterday and was a huge success. Thank you, Sherry and Alex. Laura and I have had much time in the hospital over the past couple months. During those times, we had conversations about what she wanted if things did not go the way we hoped they would. She was still hopeful she could beat this, but she also wanted to make sure nothing went unsaid. One of the things I think most about is when she told me I had to be strong. I know this is true, but it won't be easy. She was the rock, the foundation. She kept us all up and solid. The girls have gotten to the age where they have the foundation that Laura has built. That is going to be very important for them. That foundation will be with them for life and is what will drive them to live life the way their mom did. Shortly after Laura passed, an impromptu garden started in our backyard. Laura's sister Amy brought over a rock painting kit for the kids to use to paint rocks in the garden. It wasn't long before everyone, adults and kids, were painting rocks for the garden. These rocks are on display around on the tables. I love the messages they sent to Laura. I don't think anything could be more appropriate than rocks in honor of Laura. Thank you very much, everyone who came, and thank you to everyone who's helped put this together. It's an amazing event. The number of people here is just incredible. It couldn't be done without just a huge team effort, so thank you to everyone. Thank you to the Elks. They donated the hall for us today. Thank you to Panera Bread. They actually donated the tomato soup that Laura loved. And thank you to everyone who helped cook. That's all I've got, so I'm going to hand it over now to Dr. Gerard.
So, those tell you a little bit about Laura from my perspective, which is different from all of you who knew and loved her as a friend, as a family member. I was her doctor. When she was in college, she wanted to go to Australia, and the Australians, not wanting to let anybody into their country, have very strict rules that you have to have a chest x-ray. And so at 19 years old, Laura had a chest x-ray, and the chest x-ray was read as abnormal, and she didn't get a visa to go to Australia. And that led to a number of things that had Tom bring Laura to see me at Children's Hospital. And I can remember the exact visit this day, more than 20 years ago, when I basically had the great misfortune of having to tell this beautiful young college kid that she suffered from cystic fibrosis, and in fact she had it since the minute she was born. And the person that I described this to was even then a very strong person. And her dad was with her during that first visit. And I said to her, "You're not going to die at CF." I didn't know how prescient that was going to be, but my goal of treating people like Laura with cystic fibrosis was to make it a comma or not an exclamation point. It's just a little part of their lives. And so because she had such overall excellent health, my job and the job of all of my team at Children's Hospital was to encourage her to have as normal a life as possible. And the fact that we have an entire room here filled with family and friends and children is a testament to the fact that we succeeded. Laura had a very normal life. CF didn't define her, it was something that she had. When I took care of her in February, when she told me she was going to take all of her friends and they were going to go over for their 40th birthday present to Ireland. And she came and visited me not a month later and told me what a great time that she'd had. And I just feel blessed that she was able to go and have that experience before everything that happened this fall. The most amazing thing about taking care of CF patients is that over time you develop a relationship with them, 10, 20 years, maybe more. And you get to know them as people, and they get to know you as a person. And so, in the last time that I saw Laura, the morning that we sent her home, I was alone with her in the room, and I said to her that I love you, and I think that you are an incredibly strong person, and I can't believe how much you've taught me. And she said, "I wish it were better, but it's okay." Can you imagine somebody saying that? I mean, laying there, knowing that she was going home for hospice and saying, "It's okay, just wasn't long enough." So, very special person. I feel very honored to have been able to help her to achieve such a normal life despite this terrible disease. Just for people who are interested in the disease, it's patients like Laura that allow us as physicians and nurses at Children's Hospital to talk to young parents who are now getting the diagnosis through genetic testing at birth that it's not the end of the world. That there are people, they're going to have kids, they're going to go to college, they should be treated as normal as possible, be athletic, eat, drink, be merry. On Thursday of this past week, I had back-to-back appointments with two of my oldest CF patients. And the oldest one, who actually lives in Tewksbury, is 73. And right after him, I saw a man who is 71, who is a rocket scientist at MIT Lincoln Labs, who doesn't want to retire because he's having too much fun. And he also has a couple of daughters who are going to graduate school, or granddaughters who are in graduate school, and he wants to pay for them. So the fact is that when you hear about cystic fibrosis, and it's a terrible, terrible disease, and there are horrible cases, but it is also a disease that in our lifetime has become something that we can encourage people to have as normal a life as possible. And Laura did.
Nick, person will be Carol Bradstreet, who works at the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
Thank you, Tony, for inviting me to share my memories of Laura. I've worked for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation for 15 years, but I don't know many who are as committed to fundraising as Laura was. Although I met her just 2.5 years ago, I understand how determined she was to cure her disease. Laura volunteered for years with our Northern New England chapter, where she raised over $28,000. She then moved her walk team to North Andover and contacted me. I'm in the Massachusetts Rhode Island chapter. She told me about the huge annual yard sale that she organized and said she had other ideas too. That year she raised almost $9,000. Last summer she decided to organize a 45s card tournament in Haverhill at the Lasting Room, which Tony just told you about. The details were many, but Laura was organized and meticulous about every aspect. The tournament was a huge success, raising $3,000, bringing her team total to $13,000, and leaving everyone eager for the next tournament, which, as you heard, they are carrying on in Laura's memory. This year, Laura decided to initiate a brand new walk site in Haverhill. This was not a minor undertaking, but she coordinated it with Dick Willett at the Lasting Room and obtained permission from our national office to spearhead this new walk. Then she received her dreadful diagnosis. Others would have abandoned all commitments, but Laura wanted to see it through, and her loyal friends responded. On May 5th, her family, friends, and other CF supporters joined together for the Haverhill Walk. Because of Laura, that walk raised over $30,000. Laura would be very proud of her accomplishments and pleased to know that she was making a difference for everyone with cystic fibrosis. We at the foundation will do our best to fulfill Laura's dream of curing CF. Thank you.
All right. So technical details figured out. I think it had to do with the mic, the speaker that was being used by the media players. I guess what it was. So we're gonna play this video that was part of that I wanted to play during the speech. So this again is just part of when Laura talked about how lucky she felt.
To you, cha-cha-cha. Happy birthday, dear Laura. Happy birthday to you. Why are you guys all out? What are you saying? This is the video. What do you want to say?
I want to say,
birthday, Laura.
aren't I the most luckiest 40-year-old in the world to have 8 friends who would trek to freaking Northern Ireland with me, and have an aunt and all my family who would celebrate with me? I'm just a lucky girl.
You are a lucky girl.
Yay! I'm a happy, lucky girl.
Happy 40th birthday, Laura.
That's priceless. That's just she would tell me that all the time, but to have it on video is just priceless, and all of you are why she felt that way. So thank you all. So next is Jeanette's going to come up and speak, and then we'll move on to the online videos.
Hi everyone. It's a great privilege to speak in honor of my lifelong best friend Laura. We've known each other since we were her daughter Boston's age, so that's approximately 35 years of memories to sift through. It's a tremendous blessing to have decades of happy stories to reflect on at a time like this. There's no way to do her life justice with a quick speech, but I'm here to give it my best. Today's Celebration of Life event isn't just some default plan because Laura hated wakes and funerals. She spoke of her final wishes from time to time and was quite specific. She wanted everyone she loved to get together and have a big party after her passing. Laura loved parties. She loved planning them and she loved hosting them. To reflect on some of the backstories that may have helped shape this important decision, my focus today is on Laura, the party lover. The first Laura party I can remember, I believe, was her second grade birthday celebration. Sandra made a chocolate sheet cake with chocolate frosting, and it was covered in chocolate candies and served with chocolate ice cream. The kids were ecstatic to get all that chocolate on one plate. The girls from Roosevelt School were there, and it was probably the first time I met her neighbors and dear friends, Justin and Brent. We messily ate that chocolate cake in the formal dining room and searched for goodie bags that were hidden around the house. There were many simple school birthday parties in the 70s that parents these days don't seem content to host anymore. Then we moved up to sleepover parties in our tween years. Our growing clique, including many Jennifers and one Nicole, would stay up all night and listen to Michael Jackson's Thriller album, predict our future with MASH notes, practice hairstyles, experiment with makeup, read Sassy and Tiger Beat, and repeatedly try to levitate a brave volunteer while telling ghost stories by candlelight. Catherine and Amy's house parties are probably next on this list. On rare but memorable occasions, they patiently tolerated us sneaking downstairs to briefly hang around their older and cooler friends when we were supposed to be upstairs watching movies. No doubt this is where Laura developed her early love for Pink Floyd and learned her first lessons on the importance of a thorough post-party cleanup. Sandra kept an exceptionally tidy house, and Tom could spot a stray bottle cap or cigarette butt at 100 yards. After a party, the three Boston girls would scour that house like a forensics team. When our sisters left for college, the torch was passed, and Laura was the well-seasoned host of some of the best house parties a high school kid could hope to stumble across on a Saturday night. During the hottest months of summer, Laura's pool parties were the coolest place to be. Jonathan became the newest little sibling to hang out with the older and cooler kids. Laura, with a wet tea over her bathing suit and lemon juice in her hair, would push John around on a pool raft and tell everybody what heartbreaker he'll be when he grows up. The summer nights would find a pack of teens playing volleyball and Marco Polo well after midnight, waking Mrs. Gindy or the Lamastros with all the noise echoing into their backyards. Like all teen parties, there was the standard girl drama and boy drama, dancing and singing, fighting and crying, making up, only to do it all over again next weekend. The ski house in Campton, New Hampshire was the premier destination for February vacation week and spring skiing on Laura's birthday. After an exhausting day on the slopes of Waterville Valley, we would stumble in, frozen and sore, to find her parents had the wood-burning stove blazing and a delicious hot dinner ready as soon as we could peel the ice-crusted clothes off our numb bodies. Laura heads off to college now, and we are in the Babson party days. Those ones are a blur to me, but I know Lisa, Tammy, Heidi, Rita, Todd, Mia, and too many others to list can fill you in on those 4 years of madness. One of my favorite personal stories is how our high school friend Gloria met her husband Michael while visiting Laura at Babson her freshman year. Gloria and Michael are still happily married today and have 2 beautiful kids. Somewhere along these lines, Laura started having grown-up parties. Housewarmings, engagements, wedding showers, bachelorettes. Laura and Tony's wedding reception was the favorite I've ever been to, including my own. Looking to regularly keep in touch with her college friends, Laura and Tony adopt her parents' favorite tradition and begin hosting gourmet club dinners well before all the cooking shows, well before all the cooking challenge shows became big. Many baby showers are followed by many babies, and this creates a lull in the party scene, but just for a short while. Now we need girls' night out. Sometimes it's tea at the Park Plaza, other times it's playing rock band and ordering takeout. Then there was a summer of endless Leah Sophia jewelry parties, a few rowdy Pokino parties, a Vault blue jean denim party, a Cellular Gold party, and many loud nights of neighborhood poker. In between all these events, Laura lovingly planned memorable birthday parties for Shannon in Boston with all their friends. Some at home, others at Merrimack Montessori, Newcastle Beach, the Rainforest Cafe, Build-A-Bear, Amazement, whatever and wherever their little hearts desired. Then there are dozens upon dozens of quieter family birthday dinners for Tony and their parents and siblings. I never attended Thanksgiving or Christmas with the Bostons, Carters, and Alvinos, but I always got to preview Laura's extensive menu building process with recipes recommended by her mother or new recipes she was eager to try, torn from the latest Bon Appetit. I always look forward to our next day review on how well the recipes went over with the crowd and a recap of the best Yankee swap gifts everybody fought over that day. The ultimate legacy of all of Laura's unforgettable parties would be that fateful day Laura's Babson friend Todd brought his high school friend Tony to her New Hampshire house to celebrate the 4th of July in 1996. She was smitten right away and swept Tony right off his feet. Since that special day, they have been blessed with 14 amazing years of a devoted and loving marriage, 2 healthy and happy daughters, and the uniting of 2 of the nicest families one could ever hope to call their own. Laura could make a party happen out of nowhere at all. I can't tell you how many times she'd say, "We're doing nothing tonight. Why don't you come over for dinner?" 2 hours later, I'd arrive, looking forward to a quiet night of intimate conversation, only to find out she bumped into so-and-so at Market Basket and invited them to dinner too. And then she asked that person to call that other couple, and then she called that new girl at work who just moved to town and didn't know anyone yet. Some days it would bother me having to share her with so many people so often. However, over dozens of years, I truly cannot count the number of Laura's friends that have genuinely become my friends as well. She can't turn it off. She's magnetic. Laura could have asked for anything for her 40th birthday. Her one request, which took 2 years to develop, was a big party with her family and friends in Northern Ireland. Every day of that vacation was one huge celebration after another. All of her wonderful aunts, uncles, and cousins went the whole 9 yards for her. They showered her with food, drinks, candies, gifts, party, love, and laughter. She got exactly what she wanted, minus the warm and sunny weather. We were an overwhelming group, and they gladly took us in and pampered us all like their own. When that trip was over, Laura returned to Haverhill, and there was one last 40th birthday party for her, packed with love from her daughters, her husband, her parents, siblings, and in-laws at her home. It was her favorite place on earth and her favorite people of all. Everyone she missed so dearly the week before and was elated to return home to. This is what Laura loved, being surrounded by friends and family, making time to just be in each other's presence, to talk and laugh, finding any excuse to share great home-cooked food, her favorite music, her loved ones, some games, and always lots of laughter. This is her gift to us. These moments are many of the best memories of Laura. Laura is my best friend. She's Tony's best friend. She is Shannon and Boston's best friend. She is Alex's best friend. And I know she has earned this blessing, the blessing of that title, with so many others in this room at some point over these last 40 years. Her spirit is huge, and she always has a surplus of love and attention to go around, which makes everyone that truly knows her feel important and cherished. So today, in honor of Laura, reconnect with an old friend, make a new friend. Set firm plans with that family member you don't see as often as you should. Ignore your petty gripes. Boldly laugh, eat, dance, and sing just like her. We continue to celebrate with Laura each time we get together again. Share that recipe, hear that special song, or play that game we've played with her so many times before. Laura wanted this event to be a huge celebration. Remember that. Make her proud. This life is all about.
So one of our newer friends is going to speak. This is Shannon, otherwise known as Nurse Shannon, who lives across the street from us. They moved in 4 years ago, and her and Laura instantly connected and have become very close. So Shannon Goose.
Tony just told you the very first paragraph of my whole talk here, so I'm going to say it again, though. I titled this little talk, The Friendship Connection, because that is what Laura did for all of us. My name is Shannon, and I am probably one of Laura's newest friends, having only known her for 4 years when I moved in across the street from her and Tony and the girls. I had met Laura for the first time the day that we came to look at the house that we live in now, and I remember thinking, boy, she's cool, she seems really fun, and I'm really, hoping that I can have a lot of fun with her. As I look back now, I realize what a complete and utter understatement that was. Over the next 4 years, Laura would become one of my closest friends. Connections. Boy, did Laura have connections. I'm not talking about the kind of connections that will get you a new job or get you places or any type of material possession. I'm talking about the kind of connection that will get you people. So many of us know each other solely because we knew Laura. Laura, has an amazing way of connecting people. She's still doing it today as we gather here in her memory. As her best friend Jeanette has mentioned, we often had to share Laura with each other. Laura had a way of making everyone who knew her feel special and important in some way. And so we know how special she is to everyone, and we don't mind sharing her. I hope that everyone has a friend like Laura to share with others. Laura valued her family and her friends like no one else I know. I can tell you from conversations that I had with her that this has a lot to do with her parents, Tom and Sandra Boston. She used to tell me how much she loved them both. Through the years, I also learned about many things that they have taught her about life and what it is to truly live. I learned some important lessons from Laura about how to connect with people. She would talk about her father and how he would tell her that one should never say no to an invitation. I'm not sure if these were her exact words, but it's in the spirit of never saying no that sticks with me today. I hear her in my mind sometimes when someone is asking me to do something that I really don't want to do, or I just don't think I have time for. Her voice is, "Don't say no, Shannon," and she's always right. And then I hear her say, "And you should invite so-and-so, and so-and-so is coming." And what about so-and-so? And a whole list of people pops in my head. She would tell me about her dear mother, Sandra, and how important she was to Laura, and how when she was sick, all she wanted was her mommy. To make her soup and take care of her. No one could care for her like her mother, so she would say. Except maybe Tony. God, she loves him. I was able to spend some time with her alone toward the end. I was chatting with her, and I had just let her know that Tony was having trouble finding something that I was asking for. She got a big grin on her face, and she said, "He's a weirdo." This was so classic Laura, making a joke and teasing Tony about something. I mentioned to her that I know how much she loves that weirdo and how he's been amazing in the way that he's been taking such good care of her now. And her reply, she simply said, "Of course." This time, Tone was a little bit more serious and with great confidence in the fact that this is just what he does. I believe that she left us knowing that Tony will be that guy, as she would say, that will do everything, whatever it takes, to make her and her girls happy, loved, and cared for forever and ever. Shannon, Alvino, your mom loves you so much. She would tell me that she will never have to worry about you. You're smart, strong, and kind, and that she knows that you will be a great success someday. Boston, you are your mom's mini-me. Your mom saw herself in you, and she would say, "She knew you were going to be that teenager that would challenge her in so many ways." And she loved that about you, Boston, how much you reminded her of herself. So now, even though Laura is not physically with us today, her spirit, her memory, her many, many, many legacies, her family and her friends will live on in and with many of us for years and years to come. Thank you for connecting us to each other, Laura. Here's to connections. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. That was great. I don't know what else to say. So my sister-in-law Alex would also like to say something. Alex and Laura have become, as Jeanette mentioned, like best friends. They do everything together. So here you go, Alex.
I don't do this ever, so be patient. I didn't know what to write. I wrote many things, and I found myself just writing a letter to Laura. So I'll write a quick little thing. Laura, you have been my best friend, my sister, my person. Thank you for the memories, the laughter, the advice, even if unwanted, which you always gave. You were always there for me to vent and to tell me to let it go. You taught me many things, from breathing when I'm upset, trying to stay organized, which I never managed to do, to sing whenever I want and as loud as I want, to say what I mean, and that no person should ever be written off. You also taught me that there is nothing more attractive than a person who believes in themselves and that loves who they are, which she truly loved herself. What will I do without you in my life? Of course, life will move forward and continue to change. You left me many memories, the endless yard sales, haggling for a cause, and if you wanted something moved and Tony wasn't there, you would call me and say, don't worry, Alex can do it. The friendships, Jeanette and Shannon, I have learned that it is what it is to be a true friend from you, Laura. I have met so many wonderful people. The Babson Girls Nights Out, which one wasn't mentioned in Jeanette's speech, but we will not talk about that one. What's our next project? Painting your house or mine. I will miss the way you always mocked me because of the way I said socks and hot. The summer days sitting in your driveway watching our kids play. I'll miss the rock band partner, my poker buddy, my soccer mate. I still remember you asking me to play soccer, and I said, I've never played before, and you said, that's okay, you'll just play in goal. And I still do. My life is fuller because you were in it. You gave me a chance to be a surrogate for you. I would do almost anything for you. I can't thank you enough for the wonderful family, near and far. Thank you, Ireland. Always made me feel welcomed. I am stronger because I knew you. Time will pass, hearts will heal, and life will move on, but I will carry you forever in my heart and in my head.
All right, so I think we'll play a couple of online videos. I know thank you everyone for bearing with us. I know it's a lot, but it's important for all of us, and they're all come from the heart. So videos, Ireland, and then we'll go from there. Thanks.
Hello. Hi everybody. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me at the back? Can you hear me? Tony, turn me up. Turn me up a bit. Technical difficulties, understand. My name's Adam. I'm Laura's favourite cousin, favourite of all of the cousins. Some might say. No, in fact, it's only me that says that. Only me. But I like to believe it. Laura and I were born thousands of miles apart. Her in America and me in Ireland, but we were born one day apart. So that kind of, although I love all of my cousins, I don't really have any favourites. The fact is that we were born so close together, so in time wise, that I kind of considered Laura to be sort of my one day apart birthday twin. I know it's not an officially recognised thing, but it certainly gave me a kind of a bond with Laura that is quite special. The first time I ever met Laura, or first time I recall ever meeting Laura, I think we were about eight years old or something like that, back in 1981, when my Auntie Ruth was getting married to a chap called Brian. He's now known as Uncle Brian. And when the wedding preparations were in full swing, our great Aunt Ivy was to make or alter and do sorts of things with the bridesmaid dresses. And if you're to believe any kind of family folklore here, the dresses, the sizing and things like that was quite a complicated affair. You can imagine the measurements being, to and fro to America and Ireland. But apparently Laura and I were very similar size, and there was some sort of cajoling and getting on to get me to try this bridesmaid dress on for a fitting. I'm going to deny that never happened. No. If you ask my Aunt Ruth or Susie, my mother, or my sister, they all claim it happened, but there's no photographs, so never happened. Don't worry. Forget it. In fact, forget I even mentioned it. Laura became quite a frequent visitor to Ireland, and I think she next returned when she was about 16 or 17 years of age with her good friend Jeanette. Hi Jeanette, how are you? Hope everything's going well for you. Might not be after everybody sees this picture, but they say a picture tells a story of about 1,000 words. So I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to put this picture up, and you can all make up your own minds. There's, just to be warned, there's like a lot of hair. There's a lot of hair on this photo. See what I mean about the hair? The next time that Laura came over, it wasn't that long. I think it was maybe when she was about 20. Our grandfather, her grandpa Boston, as he was known to her, and Papa, as he was known to us, had passed away. And just to sort of give you the backstory of this, as a child, you know, kids do say funny things, and you know, much to the consternation of grown-ups, of course, but it keeps life interesting. My grandfather was always very handy. You know, he used to make and fix and build lots of things, and growing up it was always fascinating to me. And he always had a lovely pen knife, or you know, pocket knife. And I asked him just outright, I said, Papa, whenever you die, can I have that? And he said, oh no. He says, first in line, you know, your Uncle Tom, he has to get that first, and then your Uncle Moore, he would be next in line for it. So you know, you'll have a bit of a wait to get it, and you know, then you'll get it after your Uncle Moore. So I always kept this in the back of my mind. You know, not an important thing, but it was always there. I like to remember conversations and experiences, of course, like everybody. But whenever we were clearing away some of my grandfather's things, at the house, Laura came across one of my grandfather's pocket knives, and she asked, you know, could she have that? And it brought me back to that conversation that I'd had with my grandfather, and it made me smile that, you know, that I had asked for this one thing, and Laura she'd no idea of that conversation that I'd had, and she asked for the very same thing, and it just it made me smile and made me laugh. I didn't have an awful long wait to see Laura again, and all of the family in America, because Ruth, my Aunt Ruth, and my mum and I took a trip out, and we were fortunate enough it was going to be coinciding with Laura and my 21st birthday. So I got to, you know, have my birthday with my family in America, who, you know, hadn't really been able to celebrate any birthdays or Christmases beforehand, and as family members do, like to tease and make fun of each other. And the day of my birthday, we were heading out for breakfast somewhere. This is not a thing that we do in Ireland particularly. We don't go out for breakfast, but we happened to go out for breakfast, and I was reading my birthday cards in Laura's car, and one particular card, and you have to forgive me here, I'm going to do an impression of her, and it sounds good in my head, it might not sound good to you guys, but the card basically says, don't open this card, under no circumstances is this card to be opened. So I, you know, looked at Laura with a big serious face, you know, that's I better put that away, and I set it up on her dashboard, and she was like, yeah, open it, let me see what it says. And I no, did you not see the outside? And I held the card up to her, look, it said not to open the card. And this went on for a good long time, all the way down the road, and you know, we finally got to the place where we were having breakfast, and she started to reach across the dashboard for the car, and I snatched it out of her hands, and she goes, open it! And so it just kind of made me laugh that it was frustrating her that much. I mean, I'd seen cards like this before, everybody has, you know, we kind of know what the punchline's going to be, but that was a special time. The girls had got me some tickets to go and see the Blue Man Group in Boston, and they'd also got me vouchers for Newbury Comics, and you know, I bought myself a lovely thermal mug, which I still use today. In fact, I am using it today, you can see me. So Newbury Comics, there you go, there's your plug. This podcast is sponsored by Newbury Comics, and and maybe ramen noodles. Laura loved the ramen noodles. You can't get them over here. We have a different brand of noodles over here. But Blue Man Group was great as well. We went with Steve, Amy's husband. Hi, Steve. And Jessica's uncle Jimmy. He came along. He also got me a birthday card with a scratch card. He had no need to do that. He'd never met me before. It was awesome. Laura and myself, of course, went. There was a couple of other guys we met while we were at that show, but I'm not sure who they were. I have to apologise for that. Normally I remember, people I meet and things like that. So you can stay anonymous for now. You know who you are, or maybe you don't. Laura's Auntie Susie asked me to share a couple of memories they had, and it was basically the trip that they had when Tony had proposed to Laura, and he did so in a very romantic spot on the west coast of Ireland, the Cliffs of Moher. You could probably look that up on Google or Google Maps or somewhere, and you'll see it's absolutely beautiful scenery and very romantic spot in Ireland for that sort of thing. And they were both, well, I can't speak for Tony, but Laura was certainly very excited to share that news with her family, and I think they cut short their trip in the south of Ireland by a couple of days to race up and see everybody. There's a bit of political unrest in the country at the time. If you're not familiar with your Irish history, I'm not going to bore you with it, but essentially the tensions were running high at that particular time, and because Tony was designated drinker, he doesn't drive stick shift, you see. They were driving up the road, and there were certain roadblocks put in place by the disenfranchised or the troublemakers, or whoever you want to call them. And Laura instructed Tony, get out and move that stuff out of the way. And when they told us this, we were absolutely flabbergasted, because flabbergasted, that's not a word you hear every day. We were shocked that they even made it up in one piece, because moving these roadblocks would have been quite a serious thing. You would maybe drive around and find a different way to get there. But they come up and they shared their good news with us, and we were all delighted for them. So of course, being Ireland, we opened a couple of bottles of drink, and Laura and Tony were staying with Auntie Susie at the time, so everybody could be a designated drinker then. And they stayed over, and I think the next morning must have been a Sunday, because we live in an area where there's quite a few churches about the place, and the church bells were ringing, to summon all the parishioners. And I don't know what Laura and Tony thought, but they were rudely awoken by these bells, and were kind of asking us what the heck was going on the next day with all that racket. The last little memory that Susie has from that trip in particular was that while there was a certain amount of drink being taken, Tony had decided he was going to either check the flights or phone home for some reason, but he didn't want to be a burden to have a large international phone bill, and he decided he was going to call his computer at work and let, I think it's Wildfire, get Wildfire to pick up the call and divert the cost of it, or some sort of fancy computer nonsense. And of course the voice recognition wasn't working, or something wasn't right, and my mum was just going, just phone whoever you want to phone, it's going to be fine, but of course a little bit of drink and a little bit of stubbornness or persistence was taking on board there. And of course my mother isn't that excited about computers or voice recognition software, and of course this did nothing to dispel her belief or non-belief in it. I'm going to finish up now, just a couple of words about the Ireland trip. It was, by all accounts, it was a whirlwind trip for the girls. They had to cram an awful lot in and see an awful lot of people, and there's a lot of demands on their time. The very first day they showed up, they had to drive up from the airport, and Auntie Sandra's sister had arranged a family picnic down at a local beauty spot for them. And by all accounts, it was a nice day, by not raining, but it was quite cold. So by the time they got up to Auntie Ruth's house, which was going to be their base of operations, I think they were all huddled up in fleecy blankets and drinking warm drinks and things like that. But I remember walking in, and Laura had a pink sash with 40th birthday or something on it, and it was just great to see her. And she was kind of having a great time, because the whole Boston clan were there to celebrate our 40th birthday, and it was quite poignant, because we, by happy accident, we'd already spent our 21st birthdays together, and now we were going to get to spend our 40th birthday together. And it was a great time for everybody. And if you chat to some of the girls from Ireland, or if you trawl through Facebook, you'll see plenty of pictures up there. So not only was it a whirlwind trip in Ireland, the girls, I'm sure, are all here. Put your hands up, girls, ladies, if you're here still. Yeah, go and have a chat to them. They'll tell you all sorts of stories. If you look for a couple of stories, ask about the Boston Beavers quiz team, the how to throw wine around your family and friends, or how to car versus trash can. That's probably a good one as well. So I'm just going to say cheerio now to everybody. Thanks for your attention here. There is an open mic as far as I know. It might have already been, but if not, do please get up and share some of your memories and stories about Laura. We would all love to hear them, and love you, Laura.
So there's one more of those from the other side of the family, so we'll play that now. Again, sorry it's going long, but I think it's important everyone gets to voice it.
Well, hi everybody over there in America. We decided to have a get-together here, a kick-ass in Antrim, to follow up from the night that Laura was here with us all celebrating her 40th birthday. It was a great night. Rhoda, tell them about the cake.
Carla told me that whenever Laura was at school and she had to do something about Ireland, she decided she'd do the red hand of Ulster. So she got a rubber glove and painted it red. So for her 40th birthday, I made a cake with Union Jack paper round the bottom, shamrocks round the middle, and a red hand of Ulster in the centre. That was ready to be PC because I wasn't sure what religion her guests were that were with her. And I think she appreciated that.
It wasn't political at all.
Not at all. And to follow it up, we all made our own stones, decorated our own stones, and I had commissioned Jeanette to do me one to replicate the birthday cake. So that's in Laura's garden.
Very good.
Very nice.
And I could just say I'm going to send over to Sandra a little packet of shamrock seeds, and I appreciate it if they could be planted in Laura's garden from all us Irish people to represent Ireland.
I think actually Laura was more Irish than we are.
Yeah.
No, her husband wasn't Irish, he was
American, Daddy.
But we have since discovered that he has Irish roots,
Oh, yes.
as his mother will tell you.
Do you know
We were
all
able to
Americans
trace
not have Irish roots?
her grandmother to a little village in Northern Ireland called Castle Dawson.
That's right.
Very good.
That's probably what Laura saw in you, told me. The Irish street.
Yeah, I think she wanted to live here, really. So she did. Well, Terry, have you got?
Well, Carol referred to the birthday party. We really had a great night. Really enjoyed having all her friends here. A bit disappointed in Jeanette. Didn't know how to work a faucet. I think it was just an excuse to get me into the bathroom to show her how to turn on the tap. But we had a great time and we have great memories of that.
Did you have a fridge in your living room?
Yes, big Laura walked into my living room and blurted out, "Oh look, Terry's got a fridge in his living room." I says, "Yes, why not?" But as I think I sent to the Caring Bridge thing to tell her it had now been moved into the kitchen.
To the wine.
She was quite bemused. It's like the time we were in Bangor having the dinner. Where was that, Carol?
Papa Joe's.
Papa Joe's. I was busted to go to the loo, and there was only one gents loo and the door was locked, so I looked across and there's a ladies' toilet, so I peeked in and there was nobody, so I ran in 2 cubicles. Great, I get into a cubicle, done the biz, and then somebody came in and I had to look through the slit of the door, and that person went, and the next thing Laura came in, so I thought, I'm all right now, I'll dash out. So I dashed out. Laura, shh. What did she do? Straight into the restroom and she said, "Uncle Terry was in the ladies' So
Forever outspoken. You said what you thought.
he's going to sleep or something.
And I want you all to note that we have blue skies. I was so disappointed in the weather and the rain, the torrential rain we had before I came home. But we have blue skies in Northern Ireland.
Well, I can just say I think people wonder what was happening in Antrim that Saturday morning, because I led a convoy of 3-4 cars down the street following me as they went to get gas. By the time they figured out how to work the gas
pipes at the petrol station, as we call it. Then one of the girls, I directed them to go straight ahead, not to turn into the garage because they were going to Londonderry. So I had to flag them down, direct them on the right road. Then when they all got their cars filled up, we drove in convoy again up Antrim, and my last view of Laura is her lovely big smiling face, waving goodbye as she turned off the motorway and I headed home again.
My last view of Laura was that same Saturday morning in Mummy's house eating sausages, believe it or not. Laura wouldn't have been fond of her grub at all.
Indeed, indeed. It was a great time. It was great to have all of you people over here at that time. And Laura enjoyed herself so much, and we have some lovely lasting memories of that party.
It was a wee gift of her, especially for us.
And thank you, Tony, for
allowing her to come to us.
I don't think anyone allowed Laura, but that's the right word. Giving her blessing.
Sharing her with us on her 40th.
I just say, Tony, she came into Heather's kitchen and said to me that she'd been concerned because one of the girls had a stomach bug while she was there. But as she said to me, then be okay, because Tony's quite capable of looking after them, so she's every faith in you to bring up her daughters.
And she just talked so much about how much she loved her Tony and the girls. It was unbelievable. We just
And her mum and
made
dad.
fun of her, laughing about Tony, didn't we?
She was such a family person. She loved us all, and we all loved her. And we'll never stop loving her.
So,
on that note,
here's to Laura.
Here's to Laura. They've just about restocked Bushmills Distillery since you left.
And she lived up to her name, Boston Strong.
Yes.
Very much so, yes.
All the best.
Are you saying hello, Daddy, just before we go?
Hello, yes.
That's
Hello, Sandra. Do you remember when you used to go to visit the Auntie Margaret's and Uncle Bill carried you around about on your shoulders? And speaking to somebody the other day, and that was the first thing he remembered.
It'd quite fun carrying you now.
And on that note, thanks, Terry.
Goodbye.
I'm always able to lie.
Goodbye.
Bye.
That was good.
But you sing, Laura? She can go down and sing you.
Yeah, I'll make sure to get posted so that it's online. We'll get it posted so that everyone can see it and hear it where environment they can probably hear it. For those of you in Ireland who made this, thank you very much. Sorry, but the audio is not working in the hall. So what we'll do is again make sure that you get the link to the video emailed out to everyone. Again, sorry about that. So that would then bring an open mic if anyone wants to come up and say something. That there's actually a couple of things already here. So my brother Chris is going to be one of Laura's friends getting sent. I believe has her.
Quick, I just wanted to pick up for our family. Laura's what we would consider had a magnetic personality. Heard many stories tonight from different people as to her ability to do that. She joined in 1996, and my parents, Tony and Karen Alvino, and myself were all going to miss her deeply. She was very kind. We liked her a lot. So when Alex and I started dating, Alex needed a place to stay for a couple of weeks. Laura and Tony invited us to stay with them. That was pretty much it for Alex. They became best friends at that point, lifelong friends. So again, Laura had this great ability to draw people in and was able to just really solidify friendships. It was a great thing. So that's the point of tonight's open mic, is for you to be able to get up and to tell your story. So I have one here from Jen Sennett that she would like someone to read. So this is from Jen. I wouldn't know it hard describing what Laura meant to me. She was such a big part of my growing up years. She will always be there when I think of Melrose, soccer, Jeanette, bumper pool, home comforters, Pink Floyd, proms, soccer camp, Hairspray, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Michael Jackson, Slush, Mothers, Mrs. Flanagan, Mr. Norton, Mr. Clenard, Mrs. Amaral, and all the Roosevelt Junior High and High School. Shepherd's Pie, Julio's Pizza, Nicole, Jenny L, C, Jen T, Erin, Justin, Trent, VW, Scirocco's, King Castle, Ireland, Parties, environmental, Bohemian Rhapsody, sleepovers, and so much more. Laura and I drift apart as we go together, but I'm always amazed at the many ways it pops up in my everyday. She brought so many together, and for me, was an example of tough, smart, strong, happy girl that I wanted to become. I am so glad that there were two little girls in the world who were raised Laura. They'll be bringing people together and examples for their friends of years to come, just like mom. To Tony and the girls, I hope you find peace and happiness. I imagine Laura would have wanted you to be strong and joyful no matter what. To Jeanette, I've never known such a true, lasting friendship as yours with Laura. You have the best treasure trove of memories, and I know you're sharing those with people who loved Laura for years and years to come. To Sandra, Tom, Catherine, Amy, and John, how sad it is to see one of your own gone, but I'm guessing Laura, even as a baby, imparted her amazing strength and tenacity to her family, and you will honor the memory of her by living your lives with joy, fearlessness. For me, I am to have Laura so deeply woven into the fabric of me. She's still teaching me by her example. I know she will always pop up and bring a smile to my face. Peace.
And this message is from his friend Jessica Puglia, who is now backpacked across Europe for her 40th birthday. Laura, I'm sad I couldn't physically be here with everyone, but life makes plans without consulting us and puts us exactly where we are supposed to be. I want you all to know Laura is extremely special to me. She has contributed so many brilliant things to being in my life, not just in friendship, but also as the matter-of-fact Spitfire she was so famous for being. Her smile absolutely lit up a room brighter than any star ever lit up the sky. I can still hear her laugh. We would always have them together no matter what we were doing. It would always wake me up the way she would say my name if I said or did something that surprised her. This girl could have friend in minutes, and it was pretty amazing to witness. We became friends back at high school working at Caldor together in quite the same way. I remember it like it was yesterday. She had an unmistakable gift connecting people. We've all known each other in one way or another because of her. Her generosity knew no bounds. She made life look easy even when it was pretty damn hard, and it was no saddled stuff like a champ. Not many people are so accomplished. She told me not too long ago to conquer the world, and I insisted we would do it together. Though this is not what I had in mind, she has made it very apparent that I am not alone on this journey. We all know how strong Laura's presence can be. I was in Berlin and sucked. I just couldn't make myself present. In fact, I was just so heartbroken I was at peace. My friend and I came to a crosswalk, and there was a bunch of people waiting for the light to change. There was this one girl who was out. She was walking her dog and waving the leash, and she actually hit me with it. She was singing. I mean, just belting it out, heart and soul, dancing and swaying with her terrible voice. And I thought to myself, and I probably made a face too, what weirdo. But it was at watching for them or that song, but went out instantly, did the radio. And I can't remember if it was just before we started dating Tony or if they were just getting. I do know whenever I hear that song, I think of her in that period in times. I had goosebumps. As long as you know she was with me and everything was okay. Someone told me she's my soul sister and that never ends. And I absolutely love how true that is. I know without a doubt I will never take for granted every minute of every day I spend with someone I love. And still at this very moment, I can't imagine my life without her. Laura was truly one of a kind. To an amazing person and a friend who touched so many people so brilliantly. You are greatly missed. I love you, Jessica.
So I have an actual quick. This is from Laura's friend Rita, who they went to college together and remained close, even though she was in California. Laura, the force of nature, so intense, knew her true north, was not afraid to call you out when you were not on her yours. That is why I think about Laura. She had some balls. Now, if anyone else can come up, otherwise, let's everyone go to the bar.
Well, that was quick. So we have Tina Fuller here. Tina is Laura's boss, is what you would say. But she was a close friend and a coworker. So Fuller.
Hello, everyone. I am Tina Fuller, and I was Laura's boss. Does anyone here believe that? I'm sure if you know it's an exaggeration. The truth is that Laura and I were a team. We collaborated to do what important work with Discovery Club. Laura kept track of data for 500 or 600 students at 8 different sites for years. She started out in Discovery Club working with children at Golden Hill.
Now, if anyone else can come up, otherwise, let's go to the bar.